welcome back, everybody. Our meeting is, oh, no, that's not it. Where the hell is it? Let's kick off the second half of our meeting with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I would like to now introduce our main speaker, Luke.
My name is Luke, and I'm not it.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Oh, Jesus Christ. There we go. You got that, and then
Both of them?
get you. Here, hold on. And then this comes over. Yeah, there you go.
Is that okay?
Right there. Cheers.
All right. My name is Luke, and I'm an addict. Man, I'm grateful to be here tonight. I'm grateful to be alive. Sorry if I get a little emotional tonight. I might need a minute, to gather myself. But give me some time, and I'll get it. But yeah, I grew up. I grew up. I like to say I grew up here, right? Because when I was born, my parents, they lived in Alhambra. And my mother, she moved us to the beach at a young age. And that's what I remember, right? Thank you. She moved us to the beach, right? And I had two older siblings, so I'm the youngest. And my older sister, she's the oldest, and we kind of went different paths in life, right? But my older brother, we trudged the road together, and so I grew up in Torrance. I like to say I grew up in Torrance, and my mom, she's a hardworking lady, right? She was never home, always at work. Left early, came back late, and me and my brother just had the house to ourselves. My sister moved out when she was 17, when I was 10. So it was pretty much just me and my brother, and my dad was in and out of our lives from as long as I can remember. The first memory I have of me and my dad, he put me on his motorcycle, took me up and down the street when I was like 6, and so he was there, and but he didn't live with us. So, man, me and my brother just had the house to ourselves, right? And I knew my dad was in the neighborhood, my mom's a completely different lady, just the total opposite. And so I always fought with myself, like, where did I feel comfortable? Like, I was like, I'm kind of a white boy, then, you see my dad, doesn't look like me. And so I was kind of caught up in the middle, me and my brother both. But man, once I got into high school, kids always want to be like their dads. At least I feel like, right? So, I wanted to be just like my dad, selling drugs and doing drugs. And long story short, that went from smoking weed and selling weed in freshman grade, and it was fun at the time. It was really fun. Yeah, as you can imagine, it was same thing like Homeboy said earlier, man, popping ecstasy around that time, 2011, 2012, man, it was fun. And, that got old real quick. By the time I'm 18 years old, I'm shooting heroin. I had kids at a young age. I had my son when I was 19, and then my daughter at 22, and of course, I wasn't there for them. You know, I had a baby. I was there when they were born, and then took off. And yeah, all I cared about was the streets. You know, all I cared about was selling drugs and trying to make a life out of that. You know, and you know, wanted to be like El Chapo, fucking thinking that was, you know, like I'm gonna be like him, man. I want airplanes full of money and fucking all that shit. And you know, I thought it would get there, but it never really did, man. You know, prison terms and trap houses and you know, but I always tried to get there. And you know, my dad was in my life at that time, and we were doing it together, man, and it was the thing to do, right? I was like, fuck yeah, I hit the jackpot with my dad, you know? And man, we're this, I'm sorry, give me a second. I'm gonna put a timer on my phone just so I can, it'll help. Is that okay if I just, okay, thank you. How much time do I have left? So yeah, it was the thing to do, right? Me and my brother. It was funny because my brother, he wasn't like me. He did 2.5 months one time when he was like 22 years old. He did 2.5 months for a domestic violence, and I picked him up when he got out of jail, and he was like, dude, I'm never going back. I thought, no way. And so we kind of lived different lives. You know, I did a prison term, and I was like, that was fucking fun. You know, like, I can't, you know, fucking violations back to back to back to back. And, you know, it was funny because, you know, when you're in there, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get clean and sober. This feels good. You get size on you. And you're like, yeah, my kids miss me. You're talking to them on the phone, right? Man, just about every single time that I got released, you know, out of those 12 times I got released, I think I only made it home back to my mom's house one time, like I said I would. You know, it was fucking out those doors. I would either have the love of my life, right? The girl I'm gonna marry, fucking with a pookie in her bra and a fucking dope sack in her underwear, and we're going to the Denny's right down the street from the county, and I never made it home. Never made it home to my kids. You know, there was one time I went to my homeboy's pad. I didn't see I told my kids, be home, your dad's coming home tomorrow. And I didn't make it home for 4 months after that to see them. And it just got worse, you know. Every time I was like, this is the time I'm gonna get it clean. So, you know, like, I was never into rehabs. I'm never into treatment. I'm not doing that. I'll get clean and sober when I get to jail. You know, like, I'm gonna get busted and I'll get clean and sober. And it just never happened, you know. And yeah, you know, I would pop up at my kid's house. You know, my mom would call me, hey, I got the kids. You know, they're gonna be with me for the night. Or go over, you know, hang out, do something, and, you know, pull up in a stolen car. You know, I can't even take them to the liquor store because I got a pistol under the driver's seat. You know, and you know, my son still talks about that. You know, there's times where I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette and wouldn't come back for a month, you know, and yeah, my brother pretty much the same thing. You know, he had a son, and we would just pop up in and out. You know, that's what we knew. That's, you know, like we thought that was okay. You know, like our mom will raise them. You know, like they got a mom. You know, she can raise them, and luckily, you know, I thank God for this. You know, at 27 years old, you know, thinking that I'm you know, the fastest, strongest, coolest, better looking dude in the room, right? You know, I ain't never been the victim of shit ever in my life, you know, and I try to fist fight somebody that has a gun in their hand, you know. Of course, that didn't go well, you know, and when it's all said and done, I'm laying on the floor with a bullet hole in my chest. You know, ain't nobody else there. It's 1 a.m, you know, and I'm wondering why the fuck I can't get up off the floor. You know, yeah, man, I went to church when I was younger. You know, I knew who God was, you know, and the whole time I was living life, man. I knew that I was just filled with the devil, man. I had times where I'd have my pistol in my hand wishing that somebody would cross me, you know? And I knew that, you know, in my head I was like, I'm gonna die or do life in prison, and I'm okay with that, you know? And I'm looking around the room, and I'm sure some of you guys have felt that at times. And you know, there I am, you know, blood fucking coming out my chest, and you know, I was like, I really thought that I was about to be staring God in the face, man. I really thought that it was over. And you know, thankfully I was able to get my cell phone out and call 911, and last thing I remember was EMTs rolling me over to check for an exit wound, and I woke up out of a coma 5 days later. Doctors telling me I ain't never gonna walk again. And this was during COVID, you know, so I couldn't have no visits, you know. And I'm like, fuck, man. I ain't never gonna be able to get out on the field and play ball with my kids. I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life, right? Who wants to be with somebody in a wheelchair? And when I got out that hospital, you know, I was in there learning life in a wheelchair. And everything's different, you know, the way I shower, the way I get dressed, the way I use the restroom, the way I get around, you know, in pain every fucking day, you know. And there was times where I was like, damn, like, why'd I call the police? You know, I should have just laid there. And, you know, when I got out the hospital, I had every intention of doing good, you know. The day I got out the hospital, it was my son's birthday. And everything was good for a couple months, you know, but in my head I'm just like, oh, I just don't gotta use drugs and everything will be okay, you know. You know, like I said, I never did this program. You know, I thought I would be okay, you know, and of course, you know, calling the same people to come, you know, hey, what's up, I'm home. You know, 2.5 months later, I'm shooting heroin in my mom's, you know, living in my mom's house, laying in bed shooting heroin. And, you know, that got bad real quick, you know. I'm not fucking out on the streets no more. I can't fucking be in and out the hotel rooms. Like, you know, I'm not jumping in and out the stolen whips no more, running from the cops. You know, so it wasn't fun anymore. It was not fun, you know, but, you know, I kind of, working this program, I've learned to let go of resentments, but, you know, the mother of my kids, she's a real piece of work, you know, and 2 months after I was home, she decided that she didn't want me to see my kids no more. So I went 15 months without seeing my kids, you know, and during that time my brother passed away, and shit got bad real quick, you know. You know, heroin turned to fentanyl, and you know, laying in my mom's room, I mean my bedroom at my mom's house, you know, her fucking having to check on me every 30 minutes because she's coming in the room fucking finding me blue in the face, having to Narcan me, you know. I didn't care if I lived or died at that point, you know. you know, I never had thoughts of suicide, but I didn't care anymore. And, you know, my brother's gone, fuck. You know, like, what do I do now? I don't got nobody to live for. You know, and thank God, you know, I took the measures of going to court, you know, and filing for custody. And of course, you know, my baby mama, he's a drug addict, this and that. And man, it took 2.5 years of you know, I did outpatient. I would go in there, not fucking listen to anything. They drug test me. I'm using it somebody else's pee, you know, because I got to use a catheter to piss, right? So I'm fucking, you know, I'd go in the stall with somebody else's pee, just pour it in the cup, you know, and fucking, I did what I had to do to get my kids back in my life. And, you know, at the end of all that, I was still miserable. You know, I was still fucking miserable. I got visitation with my kids. You know, I'm learning to be okay, you know, except my brother being gone. And I knew, you know, it never got any better until I started doing this work. You know, I got miserable enough. You know, I started going to meetings because, you know, to get my kids back. So I knew what it took. You know, I knew what it took. I heard it. You know, I had 3 AA meetings a week, 2 fucking 3-hour outpatients. You know, I went to all of them just to get my kids back. And learning life in a wheelchair, you know. You know, I knew I had it harder than other people. You know, and I use that as an excuse. You know, wouldn't you fucking get high too if you're fucking paralyzed and you ain't never gonna walk again, you know? Wouldn't you fucking get high too if you're fucking fighting to see your kids, you know? Wouldn't you get high too if your brother's gone? You know, we all have those times, and so I knew where to go, you know, and you know, they say you gotta hit rock bottom, right? And I got to that point, man. I got to that point of rock bottom, you know? I didn't want my mom to lose her other son. You know, my sister, she never did drugs before, you know, so she you know, had a big resentment with the way me and my brother lived our lives, you know, and she was mad at me, you know, because I got, you know, like when I started smoking weed, it was my brother being like, Mom, he's fucking smoking weed, you know, I'd be like, fuck you, stop telling him. You know, but and then eventually it was us smoking weed together, you know, and that turns us, you know, doing meth together. So I gotta live with that, you know. But I hit rock bottom, you know, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking die, you know. I should have been dead, you know, 15 times already. You know, obviously, this is God fucking doing his work, you know, and, man, people just telling me, you know, get it together, dude, get it together, you know where to go, man, and I would go to NA meetings, fucking going in the bathroom and getting high, and, fuck, man, yeah, I got miserable enough, man, and I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, you know. My son fucking walking into the room, seeing me with a fucking piece of foil in my hand, knotted out, you know, and my nephew has my brother, you know, he had a son. His son's growing up without a dad, and I gotta be a fucking father to this dude, you know, like, I'll always be the uncle, and I know that, so there's a little, it's not the same, you know, but that kid, man, he's going through it. And I was just like, there's a lot of people that depend on me, you know, there's a lot of people that need me here. And I was able to reach out my hand, you know, and by the grace of God, man, I'm still here, you know, by the grace of God, I'm still fucking, you know, I'm able to get my shit together, you know. So I went through the withdrawals, you know, and it was rough, you know, a suicide attempt, you know. Thankfully, you know, my mother was in the other room and able to fucking, you know, she heard when the fucking closet made a fucking big noise, and usually she let me walk out the house, and, you know, she would just shake her head and walk out the house. She figured I was getting clothes out the closet, you know, and she found me fucking with a rope around my neck in the closet, you know, hanging in the closet. And that shit broke her right there, you know. I fucking, she cut me down, and I'm laying on the floor, and I come to, and she's fucking screaming and crying. And, you know, if she didn't walk in my room that day, if she just let me walk out that door like she usually does, you know, I'd be gone. And, you know, I was like, man, this is the last time, you know, and I took one more that night, and the next day I fucking, I reached out my hand to this program, you know, and I fucking prayed, man. You know, God was there like he always is, you know. God is always there, man. And, I went through, you know, feeling like shit a few weeks, and man, you guys, this program is crazy. This program saves, you know, lives. Just like you guys hear, man. Just like you guys fucking, you know, you read it in the book, and fucking, you hear people's stories, right, at these meetings, but if it wasn't for people, you know, my sponsor being patient with me, you know, and always being there every time I called them, you know, I got you know, some trudging buddies that are there when I need them, you know. I call them, and I'm able to just surrender to the program, you know, admit that your life is becoming manageable. You know, you start working the steps, and this shit happens, you know. And you know, step 3, man, it was a game changer for me, you know. Being able to surrender and know that my life is unmanageable, yeah, I fucking knew that, you know. Look at the fucking way my life is, I fucking knew that it was unmanageable. But believing in God, you know, and just totally, wholeheartedly turning it over to God and having faith is, I feel like that was when it really hit, you know. Like, I would fucking, you know, like a month or 2 into my sobriety, you know, I'm praying every day. I'm praying all throughout the day. I'm praying, you know, and I'm praying for shit, and I'm like, God, I know you're there, you know. And slowly shit started happening, you know. And at first I was like, it was just a coincidence. It was gonna happen anyways. That's just the way it worked out. You know, I did that. You know, I fucking, I drove there fast enough and was able to fucking do that and fill out the paperwork fast enough, and fucking, you know, I made that happen. And it just kept happening over and over and over. And I was like, you know what, this ain't fucking me no more, you know, because there was times when I just live my life, you know. I'd be there for other people when they reach out their hand, you know. Those chips started coming 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and man, I lived for those chips, you know. When those chips came, I was like, ooh, I held on to that for dear life. That felt good. And you know, being there for other people like they were there for me, you know, and just praying for people, you know, and slowly just working God into my life was a game changer. And I started getting happy. I was happy with my life the way it was going. you know, and just to share some of the gifts of recovery. You know, when I was in that bed, you know, I'm thinking, fuck, how am I gonna be a dad? You know, fuck, how am I gonna, I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. You know, I'm gonna be living at my mom's house for the rest of my life, you know? There's things, I as much as I wanna feel like, fuck this wheelchair, I'm in a wheelchair, but I can still do things like everybody else. I can't, you know? And I was able to accept that, you know? But I do what I can, and I do it confidently, and I trust myself, and I trust God. And shit just starts working out, you know? I started, you know, after I got through those withdrawals, a few weeks after I started feeling better, I went to the DMV, you know, and took my permit test, and got behind the wheel of a car, you know, put my hand controls on, and I drive, you know. And you know, at my brother's celebration of life, you know, his baby mama, her friend was there, and we've always been in contact, you know, but she lives a different life, you know. She wasn't using drugs, this and that, but she was a good friend of me and my brother, you know. And my brother would always say, like, man, get with my brother, man, you guys are good for each other, this and that, and she never would, man. And at a celebration of life, you know, we started talking, and we've been together since that day. And you know, there's people out there that love you for your art, for who you are, you know, for who you are on the inside, you know, because I was always a good person, you know, like, man, my mom and dad taught me to be good people, you know, to help others, no matter what road me and my dad took through life. We had morals and respect, you know, and I carried that through life. And she put up with me, you know, for 2 years while I was using fentanyl, living at my mom's house, you know, just being a piece of shit. You know, I was thinking that just because I was there and I got my kids back and I was passing these tests and doing that, like, I was doing it, but man, she was always there, like, no, like, for real, like, do it right, you know. And you know you can't. And fucking man, the program at NA and the loving hands of you guys and God and somebody that trusted in me to turn my life around, it was amazing, you know. And a couple months after I get clean and sober, you know, I propose and we're planning a marriage. And you know, we live together. I got full custody of my son today, you know, because his you know, his mom isn't the greatest either, you know. She has her own struggles. And you know, being clean and sober, I was able to be there for him and to take the right steps and to do what I needed to do. And I got full custody of my son, man. He lives with me every day. And you know, it's crazy what happens after you do this. And it's not just going to meetings. It's not just fucking meeting with your sponsor every week and doing the work. And it's actually, man, putting your faith into this program and doing it right. You know, not just it's not just telling people what they want to hear, you know. It's not just showing up to meetings and sharing about, you know, how much better your life is. It's actually fucking doing it. And man, the blessings that come are real, you know. Somebody told me one time, you know, God can move mountains, but you show up with your pick and your shovel and do your work too, you know. And that's how it happens. And I think about that every day, man. And I just put in the work, man. I'm able to, you know, talk to these social workers confidently. I'm not on fucking drugs this time, you know. I'm not fucking faking these fucking tests for them. It's the real deal. And it's hard, you know. I'll tell you, in a fucking wheelchair or not, this shit ain't fucking easy, you know. It ain't easy. But you know, after getting clean and sober, you know, I was able to pick my dad up off Skid Row and bring him to Fairfield. And yeah, man, this shit is real when you put your heart into it, you know. And I feel like I'm a fucking I feel like I just left high school and I'm fucking getting on with my life right now, right? Because I put everything on hold. I wasn't doing shit. I had kids, wasn't there for them, this and that, man. I got bills to pay. I got fucking things to do. And I wake up every day, you know. First thing I see when I wake up every day is my wheelchair. You know, I open my eyes, it's right there next to my bed, you know, and I could be like, oh, I don't feel like doing shit today, you know, and I'm sure some of you guys feel the same way. You know, you guys got shit to do, and you're like, fuck, I don't feel like doing it today, you know. But me, at least where I'm at, man, I sit down, I say a prayer, and I thank God for the life I have today, because it's better than it ever was. You know, and sometimes I feel guilty, like, fuck, my brother's gone, you know, like, I put people through hell my whole life. I got a lot of making up to do to my kids, but I'm happier than I ever was before. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life, you know, and you know, I went to a big book study. I'll just end it with this. I went to a big book study. You know, I work at NA program, but I needed a meeting one night, and I was like, man, I got to go to a meeting. So I went to a big book study. It was just right down the street from my house, and it was an AA big book study, you know. And I fucking started reading it, and I was like, man, I couldn't put this shit fucking down, you know. And that was like 2 weeks ago, you know. And I've been thinking, I got to get myself a big book, you know. And at home, I got a shower chair to get in the shower, right? And the legs are kind of uneven, so I got these 2 books shoved under it, you know. And just today, I was taking a shower, and I was like, that dark blue book kind of looks like a AA book without a cover on it. And I was like, damn, that's kind of the same thickness too. And so I pick it up, and I don't know how it got there. I must have brought it there from my mom's house. But it was my brother's. You know, everything highlighted that he was working on, because he was big in programs. He did treatment like 5-6 times, just couldn't get it. But you know, it's like, fuck, you're still with me. You know, so life goes on. You know, life goes on, and you know, I realize that, and all I can do is just make it better. You know, I made it better for myself and my family, and just show up for you guys, man. Because I without this program, I wouldn't be where I'm at. You know, with trust and faith in God, I would not be. You know, I'm sure I'd be dead by now. So, you know, me and my dad, we got a relationship ahead of us, and I'm excited, you know, and I'm able to be there for my nephew, you know, and he's able to be there for his grandkids, and I'm fucking looking forward to it, you know. So for all you guys, I hope you guys get it, because fucking life gets better, man. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah.